Good evening, Africa. This is African football. We are here yet again discussing all these, I don't know if you can call them wonderful news that we normally witness on the African continent. As far as football is concerned, no different this time around. It is a mouth-watering round of topic that we're going to discuss. We want to welcome you. Hashtag Frun Sports. Engage with us. Tell us what is on your thoughts as I take you through what you can expect tonight, what is going on at CAF. We love CAF, but I don't think they love us themselves. It is former Nigerian captain, one of the most successful captain, joining in the Eagles camp as an assistant coach. Salah, that is, going to the Olympics. Is it the right call to bring the overaged players to go and play in the Olympics? Chiefs, we all saw the headlines being banned from recruiting players. What did they do wrong? These and other stories, I think they are all here to be able to unpack, to be able to tell us as to what is happening on this continent of Africa. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the guys. Greg Tiaf is here, Jeff Katala is here, Timothy Patabaire is here. My name is Elasto Capoeja, driving the show. Hopefully you will enjoy what promises to be another high-firing discussion regarding these matters on the beautiful continent of Africa. Gentlemen, thank you. I can see you are strong. You are here, ready to go. Yes, let's start right through it. Jeff Katala, looking at what is happening at CAF. There was an audit, I'm told, that was leaked. We're talking about the end of era, a tenure. FIFA General Delegate Fatma Samura, now her tenure has come to an end. She might have wanted to overstay her welcome, but it was cut short. According to FIFA, might have wanted to stay longer. But out of that, Jeff, whether it is because of her getting involved or not, there's this PricewaterhouseCoopers audit. I think they are one of the best audit companies that are doing duty as well for FIFA. They are reputable. I'm not sure if that is the case. Here they are. It's an audit that has been leaked with so many issues. Some of them, we've covered them here on this platform, but just painting this black picture about governance, especially the finances at FIFA. So many things are in question. And if you look at where that finger is pointed at, none other than the president himself, Ahmad. What are you reading from this audit that has been leaked from PricewaterhouseCoopers?
I don't believe in it.
Oh.
Not at all.
Why?
I don't believe in it. If that was a proper audit report, who commissioned it? We have to ask. Who commissioned it? The only people capable of doing so, only the president and accounts department within CAF themselves. Because the FIFA, the Confederation of African Football, is not under the tutelage of FIFA. There's no law, there's no legislation, there's no statute saying that FIFA has the power to intervene in confederation, any confederation matters, be it in Africa, Europe, Oceania, or South America, or Cannonball.
Yeah.
But they don't have that right. So they have the collaboration. They can cooperate, they can collaborate, but they don't have that, to be responsible over CAF,
Yes.
to exert some kind of authority over CAF. And that report, it was commissioned since last year in November. Why was it not published? Why they waited until CAF Exco? They said unanimously that they don't want to renew Fatma Samura's stay after 6 months.
Yes.
It is because they found that she hasn't done any job very particular to say so.
Because she's the Secretary General of FIFA.
She's the Secretary General of FIFA. When you are Secretary General of FIFA, you're the one who runs.
You are almost
FIFA.
like the CEO.
But you are the CEO.
FIFA. Okay.
But Jeff, we have to be we have to look at the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is the audit. And that audit is coming out after the general delegate, that Samora Fatuma, has left. So she has left an audit. That is a report. That's the mirror.
That was not one of her prerogatives. She was not supposed to commission any report. And she hasn't commissioned any. That report was done last year.
All right.
That's true.
Let's get this clear from you, gentlemen.
It has come to light.
I want to find out something,
she has left.
I want to find out something.
Yeah.
Because, Jeff, you are saying maybe you are questioning the legitimacy of this audit, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, but now let's look at the contents of what has come out. Are these issues that you might feel that, yes, there is something regarding all this misappropriation of funds, maladministration, so many irregularities that have come forth from this report? Can we read something into it? Of course, we question the legitimacy or whether PricewaterhouseCoopers, they've got that mandate to be able to come up with an audit of this nature. But looking at what has come out, maybe can we look at that, team? Do you feel?
Yeah, this is not for you. There might be something as usual, but to the tune of 24 million. Adapt.
No.
Okay.
How did the money did get out of Egypt? Because
a
payment to pay offshore accounts now, it becomes a problem, a very big problem. And the wiring, even the wiring is also controlled by United States. But I know that CAF, I'm very critical of CAF.
Yes.
Yeah, but this time around, I
So
cannot
you
really
think-
no.
Okay.
And the Pricewaterhouse,
Yes.
and I cannot believe anything. For me, they are like KPMG in South Africa,
So
because
they also corrupt themselves.
Yeah, they are corrupt.
Okay.
They went to Angola last year.
This world is fine.
Yes, they approved the account of Isabel dos Santos.
Yes, the daughter of the former president,
Exactly.
Eduardo dos Santos.
Yes.
So we question the credibility of Pricewater Company.
Pricewater auditing firm has been having their own challenges.
Okay.
Let's not ignore that. But we need to remain focused to what has been brought to sight. What Pricewater is highlighting at this moment in time has been what we knew before about CAF operations, but it was only in the corridors of power. It was never documented. Now, PricewaterhouseCoopers, as an auditing firm, has put it on record that yes, we have got maladministration in CAF.
Yeah, let me give you an example.
Yes.
On that report, they say that Constant Omari has taken CAF funds to finance his daughter's wedding. Is truly false, because myself,
Yes.
I was invited to that wedding. Yeah, the wedding
So
wedding didn't take place in DRC, and it wasn't in May last year.
Yeah.
The wedding was on the 16th of August, 2019, and it was in Atlanta.
But Jeff, you didn't go
United
to the
States.
wedding.
But-
But
all
maybe
right,
it's
No, and then
we should be mindful of this. We should be mindful of this. Whatever PricewaterhouseCoopers is just coming up with as a report is what has been presented to them as evidence. So any
Who
document
presented that to them?
Exactly.
No,
We are saying-
I think at the moment,
Yeah.
gentlemen, let's be clear, as we are also trying to make things easier for our listeners. This is a leaked, it's not an official. This is not something official. This is not a company that maybe would have been given the mandate to come up and scrutinize the finances of CAF. So it's difficult to really find any credibility to what we're talking about.
Because
It's
there are
more of
many,
speculation.
there are many flaws.
Yes.
Remember, was it last year or should be in 2018 or last year, beginning of last year?
Yes.
The Secretary General of CAF,
Yes.
Fami,
Fami.
yes, he did publish as well. He did send a letter to FIFA.
Yes.
To say this is
This is not the first time we read some of
yeah.
these things.
Yeah, but
don't you think
Yes,
with
please.
this situation now, with the election coming up,
Yes.
March next year?
The CAF president
Yeah,
election.
CAF president,
Okay.
yeah.
Don't you think that something is happening behind the scene now with
Okay.
other
From
other
who?
camp?
Okay. Who?
Pinnick.
But no, but
Pinnick is there.
Elasto.
You know, Pinnick is bitter because he was kicked out.
No, but Jeff,
Yeah.
but Jeff,
And the others, the secretary,
And Fami.
you know,
And Fami as well.
So I think
I think that
Okay,
is
are we saying
speculation.
that
So
these
they
are-
have
There's a count.
too many.
Etafia, I think that is speculation.
yeah.
What is before us is the leaked report of PricewaterhouseCoopers regarding the maladministration of CAF. So we need to try and look at the points that have been raised to get to the bottom of it. Yes, they will have the room. So many things are happening because if you remember, in March 2017,
Yeah.
we thought the new broom is gonna, clean the whole
Yeah,
house
yeah.
of CAF to new levels. And
Where I met
from day one, we have not experienced anything. So at this moment in time, what is being raised by this auditing firm is what we knew,
Yes.
but we could not put proof to it. No one could claim ownership of it.
Yeah.
Now, if the auditing firm is claiming ownership of it, we need to try and get to the bottom of it.
Tim and gentlemen, okay, let's just look at one incident or one case. The one of tactical steel.
Yes.
Yes. How deep is this issue? Because I think it not only started with the PricewaterhouseCoopers. I think it's also at the subject of investigation from the French authorities, where CAF ended up disregarding Puma in favor of tactical steel, who are thought to have maybe, increased their rates 4 times more than what you would get from Puma. So how do you read
Yes,
that?
the problem came from Puma. Puma was not happy. Puma is the one who blew the whistle because they were not happy that Ahmad has left them
And chose
to go
tactical steel.
and they chose tactical steel.
Yes.
And the tactical steel is very minute company. It's very small.
I understand
It's,
they're
it is
only
like
for gym equipment.
Yes, and it is like it's like a family business.
Yes.
It's like a family business.
And the owners happen to be very close.
The owner of Tactical Steel is the closest friend of Ahmed, best advisor. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a relationship.
There's a relationship.
Between the
There's a
owner-
corrupt
Yes.
relationship.
There's a relationship.
corrupt relationship.
The problem is not about the money that they've paid.
Yes.
Because Tactical Steel doesn't have the capacity to produce those things. So they took the money, they went and buy.
Okay.
Yeah. So because it was a friendly,
It's a corrupt relationship.
so gentleman agreement,
Yes.
that's why Puma felt very
Or they felt
aggrieved.
aggrieved.
Yes.
So they're the
Yeah.
ones that made the lot of
Yes, yeah.
So are we saying, Jeff or Tim and Craig, that looking at what happened, of course, Puma, venting their frustration and their displeasure in the way that CAF dropped them at the last minute, and now you look at this link that Ahmad has and the investigation that kicked in when he was brought before the authorities of the French, to answer some questions. Now, again, this has been indicated by the same audit company we're talking about. So there should be something. If you look at that relationship, of course, between Ahmad and Tactical Steel owners, where, you look at a cheaper option was kind of, put aside in favor of something, a company that was not known to be producing what CAF wanted. I think that left a lot to be desired
I
as
think
well.
there's a corrupt relationship that is that
Allegedly corrupt relationship.
No,
allegedly.
I can't put my head on the block.
No, it's not.
I
It's
can
not. It's
confirm
not
it.
I won't say corrupt relationship.
Allegedly.
I will say that Ahmed was not supposed to be involved.
Yes.
Yes. The procedure was not followed. According,
Yes.
he shouldn't.
So
he
he
shouldn't
was
be.
not supposed. So we
No, he
agree
was
on
not
that one.
supposed to.
Okay, then there was the other issues were Greg Tiaf. There are so many of them. You look at the one of the pilgrimage where some FA presidents were given money to go for their religious, adventures there. All this, you look at the former Secretary General of CAF. Really, so many allegations
bringing up-
leveled against Ahmad. But at the end of the day, he has denied Ahmad. They say, look, these are people that disgruntled former employees. Yes, we can't rule out in CAF that there are divisions within CAF. There might be people in the back at the back of this everything, really trying to make sure that they make things difficult. You mentioned the issue of elections coming up, so it becomes difficult for anyone, from a neutral point of view, to really make something of what we've been hearing.
it's a lot of things that's happening in CAF, which I mean, some are true, as Jeff say, but up to the extent of that 24 million, I think, no, But the one with, going to Mecca, all those things, there's some gifts. We always say that there's some gift you take. I mean, with armless gift, you say, okay,
No.
And you have to understand. He's quite right. He's quite right in what he's saying because Ahmad bin Aman. He's very much involved, even if he's behind doors.
He was banned, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's behind, but you can put his people
because
there.
of the result also of
Yes,
this
but he put his
audit
people.
of this
Where do you
of this
think?
company.
Where do you think that Perumal was getting money from? And we do have also the Kingdom of Morocco.
Yeah.
Yes, the king wants to develop Africa. He wants to participate with the African development. So anyone who wants to go to Mecca, if you go to him, he'll give you money.
Yeah.
Actually, he sends his advisors everywhere.
All right, gentlemen. I think. Look, it is this big. If it was a movie, I can tell you.
Can you, Elasto, how if you put yourself? It is for the very first time that I'm taking CAF side. It is for the very first time.
Because you're not sure about this.
Yes,
this
I'm not
audit
really
company.
sure because
I
I'm the
can see
president
that.
of CAF, and I'm asking you, the president of FIFA, to send somebody to work with us. If I have stolen so much money, why would I call him to? Why would I call him to come and audit?
Jeff,
Okay.
I think you can get an answer there. When we have got Hamad being, called in for questioning,
Yeah.
there is a possibility that he needs to safeguard himself, because at that moment in time, we would have thought that the likes of Pinnick would like to take over the leadership of CAF. So seeking the help of Infantino was to try to put down the waters so that all this is rectified. And it's not surprising that immediately there was a decision to sack the likes of Pinnick. So much is taking place. I wouldn't like to believe that Ahmad Hamad did it for the good of African football. No, it was for selfish interest, to protect the interests of FIFA. Remember, FIFA is an interested party in the running of CAF. So Ahmad Hamad handed over our football matters to FIFA so that they can change even our own AFCON, when we're going to play the AFCON dates, to change them back to January.
All
That
right.
was
No,
facilitated-
January is only for Cameroon.
Yes, but
It is only for Cameroon because
yes,
after,
back.
yes,
To
no,
July.
no,
Because
it will
we're
go
the-
to May, July.
yes,
May,
but
May, July,
that
yeah.
decision
Oh, yes.
was made possible
Okay.
because
All right.
of the invitation of FIFA into the matters of CAF.
All right, I want to ask, okay, gentlemen, there are some of the proposals, recommendations coming from even yourself, Fatima Samura. Your thoughts on one of the recommendations about the term limits, Kregitafia, that maybe the executive committee, the CAF presidents, they should be limited maybe to 2 instead of them being there for as long as
I
ever.
think that's.
Are you in agreement
no,
with that?
I'm in agreement with that.
No,
At least,
no,
but you cannot stay there for long.
No,
We have-
no.
So you're in favor
No.
that there should be term limits to
Are
to
we
the
at the
president?
Probably 4
Presidents
years.
of the country or what?
2 years could. I mean, 2 years because 2 years cannot do a lot of things in
Okay.
2 years. Coming in 2
No,
years.
no, 2 years. 2 terms is about,
Two-
it's
yeah,
about 8 years.
It's about 8 years.
So I mean,
You are
4
in
years.
agreement with that?
Yeah. No,
No,
it's
it's-
4 is better.
No,
One term.
it's
One
That'll be
term.
one
you know,
term.
Yeah.
look,
Okay,
it's
one
very
term
it's,
Kregitafia.
it's very important for the leaders of football to know that they are there to serve.
But
Not-
you stay there for 2 terms in terms of like we're talking about the 8 years now. You want to stay more. Like with Ahmed, you can't expect the next election.
No, he should not come back.
No, why?
I hope he just
He will tell you that.
no.
He will tell you that he did a lot of things.
Which things?
There's a lot of things.
Can you mention
Wait.
changing the AFCON to July? Expanding to 4 teams.
Wait. The likes of Uganda playing AFCON now is probably with Ahmed.
we
24 teams.
we qualified.
Yeah, I understand.
The qualification, the team,
Okay.
but
There's
this one's
a lot of things.
24.
There's a lot
All
of
right,
things.
okay.
There's a lot of things that he did that other countries.
Okay, so there are some. Okay.
Now, so, but when it comes to these
Yeah.
things of term,
Yeah, term
in
limits.
office,
Yeah.
when it comes to, football is not something like, when you run a company, even you CEO of a private corporate,
Yes.
or you run a confederation, or sometimes federation, that we can talk about it. But confederation is something that need consistency, because when I know FIFA very much when Stanley Russ was the president.
Yes.
He, the former referee from England.
Yes.
He was the president. But when he lost election in Germany in 1974, Joao Avalanche
Yes.
took over.
Yes.
Yeah.
We wait for Joao Avalanche until 98.
Yes.
And by that time, FIFA has made a lot of money. FIFA became some
institution
an
it is today.
institution
So
which
you are-
was known
so
everywhere.
you-
And when Blatter took over from where Joao Avalanche left off, he made it even bigger.
So you are in favor
Yeah.
of an endless
Yes,
term.
as long as he
as
is
long
not
as he's
beaten.
delivering.
Yes, he's delivering.
As long as he's delivering.
We can say whatever we say, but
Okay.
when Issa Hayatou took over from Idnekechete Tesema
Yes.
in March 1988 in Morocco, CAF was not the CAF that we're talking today. We're talking about
Hayatou-
today.
with Hayatou.
With Hayatou,
So they
yes.
are positive
They are
in
positive.
somebody staying
yes.
for a long period of
as
time.
long as he knows what to do, but not Ahmad.
So like, okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
So Ahmad, we must give him
But-
2 terms, but the rest when they come.
Because you have to have a personality, you know.
Yes,
Ahmad
yes.
is being taken left and right. He was taken by Eto to go and visit Biya. He was taken by Eto
Yes, he
to
just-
go
it looks
and
like he just
visit
flows with anybody.
Felix Tshisekedi
Not
in
a
DRC.
man of his-
He's not a
Yes,
man of
that
he-
would stand for his own
No,
views.
no,
Okay.
not him.
All right, gentlemen, enough of CAF. I was going to ask so many questions about CAF.
Or
Hashtag
even a UEFA,
France
sorry,
Sports.
even a UEFA with Lennart
Yes.
Johansson.
Yes, the same.
Yeah,
Yes, the same.
You know,
Alright.
the biggest challenge we have in Africa is that we are student of governance. We are lacking in that area. So how to manage it? We can have a longer term, and we have the entitlement tendencies that we have seen.
For me,
and
how
we,
Yeah,
we,
but
we lack the
when you
growth
look
of
at
football in the
Issa
game.
Hayatou, according officially, but
Yeah.
I stand to be corrected.
Yes.
They said that he left in the coffers of CAF something more than 110 million.
Yes, no, yeah, there
Yeah.
was. There
Yeah.
was, man.
So this is something very positive.
Yes.
No,
So people should have taken from there and increase.
Not Hamad.
No, not
Not Ahmad,
not
Ahmad. That is the
But
call
let
of
me
the
tell you
guys
that,
here.
no, you need
All
to-
right.
No.
The call of the gentleman here is that we can accept an endless, stay as a CAF president. But for Ahmad, definitely there
But
should
the
be
likes of Pinich
a
that are
term
coming
limit.
behind
It
now
is
to try to contest too.
hashtag.
They have their own problem back home too.
It is hashtag Frun Sports. Let us know whether you agree with the guys in studio regarding the term limits, and also, of course, this PWC leaked audit, whether we can read so much into it. Is it genuine or not? They speak about so many things. They speak about just, the lack of just applying simple accounting principles. They say so many things. But Jeff Katala is saying, I cannot
No.
Trust
That's-
this audit
that's-
company
that's-
because
the
they were
time.
involved in Angola
In
there.
Angola.
And if you are following what is happening in Angola, yes, you've got question mark as to the audit company that gave a clean bill of health financially
Even
speaking.
even
Gentlemen,
in this country
let's
itself.
move on. We have to look at now what is happening in Nigeria. Talking about football matters, football on the pitch. Yes, it is Joseph Yobo being appointed assistant of the Super Eagles. Ginoro, you must be pleased, Greg Itafia, highly decorated former Eagles player, done so well, winning it here in South Africa. I think it was 2013, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yes, now he comes in, he's been appointed, yes, but the head coach says, I don't know much about it, and he questions, he says, but is he qualified to have even those licenses so that he can be a coach? So what is going on?
No,
your
but
reaction to the appointment of
For me,
Joseph Yobo?
personally, Joseph is a friend, former teammate, and
Yes.
So
I'm so happy.
So it doesn't
No,
matter whether-
no,
the way you are
it
beginning
matters.
your
I'm just trying to
statement.
come. I'm trying to
No,
come.
no,
to
no,
this.
no, just giving us a better-
You are
Yeah.
saying
For me,
saying
I'm
as
so-
a friend.
I'm happy for
You
him.
are happy for
I'm
him.
happy
Yeah.
for him. The only question you can put on is you haven't coached any team in terms of the club side or any
Yes,
national
yes. He
team.
hasn't been involved in
He
coaching.
For me, I was thinking he could have been, starting with under 23 or under 20, but the man with a lot of experience, how many Nations Cup? You have about 6 Nations Cup, World Cup, 3 World Cup, and the most cap Nigeria. I mean, he has done everything. He's a good leader. I think he's going there as a third assistant, because you have
Yes.
Salisu there, and he's going to learn more, and that's a sign.
So
that
learning on
that
the
is-
job. He
yeah,
can
learning
learn on the job.
Yeah, no. When he was playing for Everton, during his end of his career, I think he was doing some badges there. in England. Yeah,
Not that your head coach knows about.
No,
Because
he's surprised. He's surprised. You know, he's
your head
surprised.
coach says he
But,
doesn't
yeah,
know
the
of any
badges that he has done.
badges
So
or
there was
accidents.
no
But they-
consultation with the technical team.
You know,
the
the
Nigerian.
FA feel like they need somebody that plays the game, and they need somebody that really commands respect with this
the
young
players.
from the
But
players.
why don't you
with
consult
this-
the head coach, Etafia?
Maybe they consult him, behind the scene.
And then
You
he
never
comes
know.
out and he says he doesn't
Because
know.
the FA are the one that appoint him. He's saying that no, he doesn't know whether he got qualification or other stuff.
Yes.
It can happen, He's not questioning his
But are
ability.
you
No,
concerned?
Etafia.
Are you concerned yourself with Yobo's lack of qualifications?
No, I'm not concerned.
Would it
No,
affect
which-
his impact on the Super Eagles?
No, I don't.
It
no,
won't.
it
So
won't.
what he has achieved and the kind of person he
He
is, what he has done for the Super Eagles, for you is enough. So it's a good appointment.
For me, it's a good
All right,
appointment.
good appointment. Timothy Banabaire, yes, former player coming in for the Super Eagles. Maybe the Super Eagles head coach in the making. If you look at what he has achieved, what he commands, the respect, and all what he has done for the Super Eagles, I'm sure something could be done in terms of trying to equip him with the necessary, kind of certificates, qualifications that can help him to stay long in the structures of the Super Eagles.
For me, Elasto, I'm looking at the principle.
What is that principle?
If you don't follow the principle of appointing the relevant people who are qualified, irrespective whether you've got qualifications or not, but the principle, you need to follow procedure.
Timothy, Mr. Tim, which procedure
Because
must
you
we
mean
follow?
in terms of,
the person who is in charge
in terms of,
is the coach. Ro needs to know because that is his technical team.
He's just
This
talking
is-
about qualification.
No.
He's just talking about he's not sure.
No, the fact of the matter that he's raising the issue of qualifications means that he was not consulted. It's as simple as that.
Yobo never-
Because if
wait,
he was
wait.
consulted,
Yobo- okay.
if he was consulted, it means he agreed to that. So there's no need for him to raise the issue of whether he has good qualifications or not. So I'm saying we shouldn't condone the federation interfering into the affairs of the technical area of football
I think
in Nigeria.
I think Jeff can help us here.
Yes.
Yeah, it is two way. Of course, Timothy
Yeah.
is just
No,
you
to
know,
answer Timothy only.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not known for coaching a club side or involving the national team, but maybe he has his own qualification. He haven't used it yet.
No.
And there's the right time for him to use it to come and help the Super Eagles to win the Nations Cup again
No.
and to the World Cup again.
The view
Yes,
of
Timothy.
it
You
is
agree
one
with that?
dimension, yes.
Yes.
That I want to
Yes,
talk
please,
about as well. Yes,
amplify
but
on that.
the second one is that Elasto, we have to know that we went to school, we've
Yes.
got the degrees, but all the diplomas and degrees that we have is only presumption of knowledge.
Yes. Yes.
It's not something very definite.
Yes.
I don't say that Yobo shouldn't be there, but we have to give him the benefit of the doubt
Yeah.
because when Beckenbauer took over the German national team and went to for the very first time, he reached the final in '86, but lost it to Argentina. But it was a rehearsal 4 years later in Italy,
Yeah.
and he won it.
He won
He had no qualification. He had no license. But now for Yobo, because when you join the national team, you're not going to groom players, because with the players that you call, they are the best
Yeah.
for your
Yes,
country.
yes.
Yeah.
You don't train them, you don't coach them.
They know what to do.
They know what to do. So the biggest thing is players management.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he have that capacity?
I think
All
I
right,
think,
gentlemen.
I think he commands respect.
No,
And the other thing
what-
again,
what-
and the FA, they
Yes.
promise, they're gonna acquit him more
Yeah,
in terms of.
So that's why I kept on talking about Leonard Job. But now, talking about that, I think there's a topic that we're going to discuss later on. Now, let me bring it in because it is related to what you're speaking about. We've got a situation because now Jeff is talking about somebody who could win things like Beckenbauer without necessarily having qualification. Now, here's a Ghana Football Association that have told Ashanti Gold that your coach does not have the right qualifications. So in terms of club licensing now, because many clubs have also kind of raised concerns, gentlemen, about this rule of club licensing that we need coaches with a certain qualifications only to be coaching your team. So how do you balance that now when the association in Ghana is saying that all the coaches must have certain qualifications.
Let
And
me
now
jump
you are
in
saying-
before. Let me jump
Yes.
in before I can lose.
So yes, I'm
idea.
very confused.
It is. But for that, I agree. For
Also
that,
for this one,
for
close
that-
side.
It's
It's a
not-
close side.
It's not African.
True, but
Yes, I can accept that.
but
Please,
Jeff,
I can-
but Jeff,
not-
but
it's
Jeff,
not
but Jeff,
African.
don't you
You
think-
cannot come without any paper to come and coach in
No,
Africa.
No, you have.
No,
You
no,
have.
no, no, no.
But they
He
haven't.
has
They are
got papers.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They are failing to verify them.
Yeah, they are fake.
They are failing.
No,
They are fake because
the
they
question-
cannot check
They
them
are,
up.
they are failing to link them to either the German FA or the
You
Turkish
see,
FA.
yes, they can
But
check.
he claims he has got
Yeah.
the papers. So it is subject to him verifying and giving us the authenticity
For
of
you,
the
for you to
qualification.
come, for you two to come and the three to come and play in South Africa.
Okay, I
you should
think-
be in your area. You should be better than the local player.
I hope
Yes.
our listeners at home, you're not as confused as I am. Hashtag Frun Sports. The gentlemen are saying
should I have
that
a
when you are
question
coming
to
from
come?
outside, you must have qualifications.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you are like a Joseph Yobo,
I can give you a chance.
you are allowed to be part of the Super Eagles setup because of
Yeah,
what
but
you've done.
if proper procedure
Yes.
is followed.
Yes, no, of course.
Because
If
General
everything
Raw
follows-
should have been consulted.
No, definitely.
And
they
he
should.
wasn't.
They should have consulted
Yeah.
the coach and so forth. But yes, the issue.
But it's
of-
Joseph Yobo, man. It's
Yeah.
Joseph Yobo. Joseph Yobo is Joseph Yobo. He has to be there in the Super Eagles because
All
the
right,
boys
gentlemen,
listen to
let's
him.
move on there. I think the issue of the qualifications, club licensing, I can see it's happening in so many countries. That's what CAF wants. CAF are driving this agenda of qualifications. Look, sometimes when I see these things, when I hear that a CAF, when it comes to coaching, coaches have to have the necessary qualifications. Sometimes I ask myself that when it comes to those men and women that form part of that executive committee, what qualifications do they have? Sometimes I wonder.
Most of
But
them
you see,
they
in
don't
PSL,
have.
in
But
PSL,
I
too.
wonder as to
And
why can't-
most of them, yes, I can't really, so try to take them on that because of qualification of that. But some of them they don't even know football.
that is my problem.
But wait,
Jeff.
wait,
That is what
Ashanti
I'm
goes.
saying.
With
Yeah.
Ashanti goes.
Yes.
He knows football because
Who?
you see where the coach,
Which coach?
the coach for
The one that
Yeah.
they
Kasim.
fired.
yeah,
yeah.
because
Don't
you know
leave
why he knows football because his team is top of the log there.
No.
So I mean, if he's
No, you see, Greg Itafe, that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
I think that's an example that was given by Jeff about Beckenbauer.
yeah.
Look, it's difficult to say every coach is going to be able to produce results because he's got a certificate or not. Nobody can say that. But I'm just saying that CAF, if you look at the club licensing right now,
no.
Yeah.
I hope it can include also the executive committee.
But-
that
but-
they must
but
have
you see-
certain qualifications
Elasto-
for them to sit
It's
in
true.
those
And
meetings.
besides-
because
Elasto-
you've been a president of a certain country, an FA president.
And I'm ready
By
to-
virtue of that, you become a member
member
of
of-
the executive committee. For me, that is a
But
problem.
for me, Elasto,
I'm
with the
ready
club
to be one
licensing-
of the composers of the test
you
of
see,
entry.
But you see, Jeff,
Yes.
the club licensing, we should also agree that as former players, we have been students of coaches who have not had qualifications, and yet they have been very good on the African continent in both identifying talent, grooming talent, and making us very competitive. So, as this issue of club licensing is coming in on the African continent, we should not lose ourselves to that fact that we have got talented coaches
Yeah.
who don't have the capacity to go and sit in class to understand the body science. Now, how are they going to accommodate them so that they can continue identifying talent and analytics? I
Thank
think
you.
that's
Thank-
why we're going to have. we're
Now,
having a
thank you,
problem now.
No,
Timothy,
that-
because
that is
this
a-
is
that's a very
most
good
of the
point.
time I used to say that CAF they don't do proper due diligence.
Yes.
They just copy and paste
It's a
from
copy and
Europe
paste.
and
It's a copy and paste.
And when you talk about those coaches,
Yes.
even
Yeah.
Jean-Paul Akono of Cameroon,
Cameroon,
Yes.
yeah.
he did get Olympic medal in 2000 in Sydney. He doesn't have a qualification. Yeo Martial of Cote d'Ivoire,
Yes.
he gave the Pachyderms AFCON in '92 in Senegal. He didn't have qualification.
Yeah, no,
so we have to
we
take
agree.
those realities into account because even when they talk about club licensing, you need to each and every team which plays in your national league, the
Yes.
top division,
Yes.
should have a stadium. How many teams in Africa do have their own stadium?
Yes.
You're talking about a
That's the
stadium. We're talking about you're talking
Training
about,
ground.
We're talking about training ground. We're talking about an office block.
Yeah, an office
We are
block.
having
An office.
an office in the boot of the car.
Not now. Not now.
No, even no.
Oh, most of
Not
them.
now, not
Ethiopia.
now.
Oh, no.
Don't
No.
Ethiopia, don't ignore the realities of African football.
Those days.
Oh,
Please,
no,
Ethiopia.
not now.
2020.
Why
not
say?
now.
Go to Edu.
The club from Togo, which
No.
came here to play for
No, may-
against Mamelodi Sundowns, they don't have an office block. I
Maybe-
have to call
maybe
Stefan
Greg Italia
when he's
is talking about
on his
what
private
he's seeing in
fan.
South Africa. He
Yeah.
hasn't been traveling in other countries. But anyway, gentlemen, that is the club licensing. Hashtag Frun Sports. Let us know your thoughts. Is it only limited to coaches that must have only qualifications? But what about the administrators? I think for me, the administrators as well,
They should go
they
through
should
tests.
as well go and also acquire the necessary qualification. That is my call, because if you hear maladministration, misappropriation of funds, at times when those meetings are happening, I get scared. It's what is really coming out of those meetings when you've got many of these FA presidents that have no clue about what is called administration.
Like the one who
at
was
an
in
level.
Zimbabwe.
I won't-
He didn't even know what CAF stands for.
There you go. All right, let us move on. Now we need to look at this other issue that we're talking of. I think we're just laughing about it. When you look about the Olympics, yes, because of what is happening in Egypt, where Mo Salah has been invited to play in the Olympics. Yes, his country qualifying there, and yes, it's a case where Craig Itafia. Your country has done well. He has sent teams to Olympics 1996.
And
They
won.
did not need overaged
Nah.
players. They
No,
went
they
there.
didn't.
They've won.
Everyone was overaged. Everyone was
No.
overaged.
They just want, no.
You are the right
They just
person to tell us
Yeah.
about this issue of overaged. Mo Salah. Let's start with Mo Salah first,
Yeah.
before we just generalize it and look at other. He's been summoned. He's been invited. He's
Yeah.
been called, invited. To come in. You look at what he's achieved as a player individually.
Yeah.
Massive. He's done so well the last 2-3 years. Now, the country, of course, looking forward. I mean, winning the Olympic gold is
Yeah.
it's not a mean feat. It's
Yeah.
not a small feat. I mean,
No.
but now they need somebody like Mo Salah. Your thoughts on him adding on, just making sure that this, he can strengthen this under 23 side. They are under 23, by the way.
Yeah. You know, I feel it's a good idea. For me
So
personally, I
he
think
must accept the invitation. He must come and lead the country.
that's where the problem is, just between the association with Liverpool, because it's very important for
Does it
for
fall under
Liverpool.
FIFA this
No.
Olympics?
No,
It's
yes,
not.
yes,
it's-
yes.
It
it's-
falls
but
under
no,
FIFA.
it's not
Okay.
obligatory
Yeah.
for the players to be the lead.
But when
to
he's,
But you see-
when he's
When he's called.
asked, when he's called,
When he's called,
He
yes,
can
yes.
go.
Honor
Yeah,
that
he
corner.
has
Okay,
to
yes,
go.
to honor
But
that corner.
I just feel it's a good for the players back home. I think
Yes.
most of the Egyptian players, when you went under 23, but right now I think a lot of players are playing overseas in terms of under 23. It depends on where you're playing. Maybe you're not playing for the first team, or you're playing for the
Yes.
junior side. But I think person like Mo Salah is a exceptional thought
you
about
think they
him.
need
I
someone
think
like him?
person like Mo Salah playing for Liverpool,
Yes.
an African base. Not, I mean, currently because you have money there, but
Yes.
I think he deserves to be in the Olympics. I mean, that's one thing apart from the World Cup. That's one thing he really deserves to play for now in terms of.
Okay, so you think he should accept Timothy?
I think he should accept that.
Your
invitation.
thoughts on Mo Salah coming to probably most likely captain the side? Yes, he's.
No,
I think he's been out.
He's gonna be the captain.
Yes.
Who will
so,
give
so
them?
coming
You see, that's
in
the-
this where he never took part in the
Yeah.
qualifying, he comes in. Yes, the rules allow him to do
Yeah.
that. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's a good gesture, especially to the young players, Egyptian players.
Yes.
First of all, they look unto him.
Yeah.
But also, you'll have a few disgruntled players who will feel like they should have taken that space. But now they've got 3 overage players. But for me, what is interesting is that the coach, that is Garib, when he called up the squad, he said Mo Salah is one of them. And the decision has to be made by himself, together with the consultation with the coach of Liverpool.
Yeah,
So
that's
for me,
yeah.
that's a good relationship
Yeah.
that's being created, because it's going to be at the time when it's going to be pre-season for Liverpool, for the new season to start. So I think it is a good gesture that I think Mohamed Salah is also looking forward to, donning the Egyptian colours on the Olympics. But for me, over and above, I think it's a very good gesture, more especially if a player is of paramount importance to add value to the upcoming young players.
And that's the game. He must be willing to go and contribute. He mustn't come there because I'm Mo Salah and let the team down.
Now, Jeff, I want to ask you this question now. Just to look at this rule that allows overaged players to be part of the Olympics. Yes, we've seen African countries, they've done very, very well. They won it. I think Cameroon, you spoke about Cameroon as well.
2000, yeah.
Now with Egypt. We might say from the African perspective, when we bring these overaged players, we are more stronger. But your take on just having these players coming in, they never took part in the qualifiers. The young players were there. Now you've got these players coming forth now to try to make sure that when we compete with the likes of Brazil, you know what, we've got a chance to win it. Your thoughts on that?
I don't like that ruling. I don't like that law.
Why?
I had an interview with the former International Olympic Committee, the Senegalese guy who was embroiled with the justice for corruption. And I told him that I don't like that ruling because, first of all, we have to understand that the under 23 all over the world, they form a pool of players that will graduate to go into the senior team. So why, when they are given opportunity to express themselves on the pitch, we have to call those who have already established themselves? It doesn't make sense.
But Mr. Jeff, they pay their dues.
Please, give them the opportunity to express themselves. I've watched, a lot of people didn't watch that tournament. I've watched the tournament that was in Egypt just after the AFCON.
Yes, the under 23
the way the small pharaohs played.
Yes.
And even the Trezeguet, because he was the top scorer. They don't need the Salah to come. Are we going to Olympic to win, or are we going to Olympic to develop?
No, we're going to win, Mr. Jeff. Every country that goes to Olympic want to win. For me, I understand.
Let me look at what Jeff is saying, and then you can be able to answer that. Okay, you look at Mo Salah.
Yeah.
2018, he played in the World Cup.
Right.
You look at his club level involvement. Champions League.
Winning
he played also in the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, he wants to go and play in the Olympics.
That's one.
Right.
No, he hasn't said that he wants to go.
Yeah. No. You look at now young players that were involved
in the qualifiers.
You look at
and even
this
those
Olympics
who played for under 20 in Egypt.
You look at the Olympics, which is a mini World Cup for that age group of the under 23. Mostly they are 22 years and below. That they've got their own. Now you bring these overage players. Surely, guys, you might be.
Yes, and again, I did speak to.
Can we give them a chance?
Even Jean-Paul O'Connor, he said that when you have to be very tough. But he said also, but yes, just because the ruling is there.
Yes.
But if it was up to him, he wouldn't, because sometimes you're taking a very big risk to spoil the dressing room.
But you see, it's a decision of the coach to call. But for me, I think it was done mainly for the economic reasons, and that was FIFA to market this tournament, to bring those good players, because
not
they
FIFA, it's IUC.
Definitely, but definitely in consultation with FIFA, definitely. So they agreed on that. It was more of a marketing tool in this regard. But again, if you look at the teams, they want to go and win it.
Yeah.
So they had to welcome the idea that, okay, let's bring the senior three overage players.
Yeah.
For that reason, because they want to win it. But we have not yet seen a coach who is bold enough, who has said, no, my team is good enough, I don't need a senior player.
Yes, because I saw that with Belgium in 2008, because I was heavily involved in these Olympics in Beijing. Yes, that team of Belgium, apart from company, everyone was under 23.
Yes.
And look where they are now. The whole team is not a senior team. All of them,
correct.
I saw them in 2008.
No, I think for me, if you look at youth football, if you look at the concept of having an under 20 tournament, under 23, under 21, whatever, You know what? This issue of introduction of age players, it only happens at the Olympics. It does not happen in football. There's nothing like that.
But let's do
There's
the
no
rules.
way
The
where
rules
shouldn't
is
happen.
there.
an age
No,
tournament.
it
you
shouldn't
bring
happen.
over age
It
players.
shouldn't happen.
It
It
doesn't
should
But
happen.
the rules is
should
there.
not
No,
happen.
but you have to use it.
No, we're just saying
Yeah.
if you were sitting,
But rules are
if you were
made by
invited
Yeah.
by the IOC right now,
Yeah,
Greg
to
Itafe,
say-
and they ask you that
make a
from a
presentation.
football perspective,
Yeah.
where have you seen an aged group tournament having introduction of overage
Overage
players?
players.
That has never happened.
Yeah.
Only the Olympics are doing it. So for me, that rule, I think it must be done away with
Absolutely.
and allow the under 23
Yes.
to enjoy their
Yes.
tournament without this old.
And
No, Salah is not old grandfather.
no.
But I want to see Salah in the Olympics.
Sometimes
I want to see Salah in the Olympics.
sometimes those young boys they
Yeah.
get frustrated because it is.
I understand. I understand, Jeff. You
Yes.
see,
You see,
the
you're
other
gonna
point,
have,
you can
you're
look
gonna
at
have
two
a
ways,
situation
Elasto.
where these players are
It's not
looking to
nice,
pass
you
the
know.
ball.
It's not nice
Salah.
when you play the qualifiers. You travel to
Yes,
Cameroon, you travel to Sierra Leone, and do
then
all this, and all of a sudden, and
somebody-
those guys don't come when they come maybe a day before the
no.
tournament
Yes.
or to
So
see.
you can say that
I
these are
feel
all
the
the
pain because it's not
negatives.
nice.
There's-
It's not nice.
There's
But
there's nothing like feeling the pain. Mohamed Salah is coming as one of the person who is even going to financially reward these kids. They're gonna look onto him.
Yeah.
So with the issue of rewarding cannot make
You
sense
see, that's
because
why
at the end of the day,
Okay.
you are having a player who is adding value,
Yeah.
both to win the tournament and also to give confidence to the young players. So
Judging by his
it depends
performance
on how
in
you,
national teams.
it depends
I
on
don't
how
give too much
no,
credit
but you see,
to him.
that's
depends on how you
the
look at
Salah
it.
issue and with the way he's been perceived in Egypt. Even this is going to be one space. I think Salah will take that space. Talkless is straight because Egyptians, every Egyptian.
No, I think in terms of the influence.
Yes,
I
because it is a law.
Yeah, I think
Because
for me,
away
I would
with it.
look at it as to the long-term gains, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Why are we having under 23s? I think if you look at all those issues, yes, if you remove who Mo Salah is in terms
Yeah,
of his
yeah,
influence and so forth,
yeah.
just looking at football
Yeah.
as to how are we supposed to benefit.
Yeah.
You look at the example of Belgium. That has been alluded
Yeah, they didn't
to.
win anything.
Yeah.
That's what they did. We
No, that's so
Nigerians
that's
under 23.
among the best.
You
Look
see,
all the
but-
play. You've discovered Hazard just because you play.
No,
he plays.
under 23.
I saw
You
him
see-
there.
you see
I
that-
saw Hazard. I saw Company there. I saw all of them
yeah.
because I was
Olympic-
commentating.
I would like to remind Itafe
Yeah.
that if you go for winning,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose it. That's
No,
why you
no,
are-
no, no.
That's why you are.
Mr.
getting
Tim, what are you
Africa-
playing football for?
All right. Africa
We are
winning the under
national
20.
team. No.
Okay, gentlemen,
Africa win the under 20.
Mr.
But
Tim.
we have no goodwill the
All right.
national team.
No,
That's it, the senior squad.
No,
That's they are old already.
Because
they're on the 20.
You are
They're
cheating.
on the 20.
You want to?
That's
Why
the
we don't see them?
tournament. They're
Why
on the
we don't
20.
see them in the senior team? Because
Most
it is a process.
Yeah, most
you
of-
graduate from under 17
Yeah.
to under 20.
If you're not good enough, you're not going to the under 23.
no,
If you're
but
not good
you-
enough, you're not going to the senior
but you
team.
cannot
All
make-
right, even though you win the tournament,
You
it doesn't
cannot
mean
make the
everyone
Olympic
must go
team,
there.
All right,
and you're not
everyone
good enough for the
Apart
national team.
From under 20,
All
under
right,
23,
all right.
the senior national team.
Because-
Kanu was
because
a good
they are
example.
old.
All
No,
right.
they're not old.
I want
That was
to-
their age when they played the tournament.
Which
age? That tournament was their age group. Kanu won't go play to the senior national team.
You go Roma 96, the goalkeeper. How old was he?
Who is that?
You go
were
Roma,
21.
something like
All
that.
right, I want.
You know, Canway was 29.
Okay,
he
gentlemen,
was
guys,
split
guys, thank you.
no.
Thank you,
Don't
gentlemen.
spin
All
it.
right.
Cameroon?
Who's
You want
your-
to question? You want to question
No,
Cameroon national
All right,
team?
no.
Eto was there.
No, it's fine. Let's move on.
So,
Okay, no.
if you want to win, you take your best player.
Best
Salah is
players.
the best player in Africa. He
All
must be
right,
there.
Greg
By the
Itafe
way-
is
Yeah,
close.
but
Greg
judging by
Itafe
his
is close.
performance in national teams, he
Gentlemen.
has deceived the national World Cup. He
All right,
couldn't
Jeff.
play. You will say that he was
Okay.
injured. National Cup, AFCON, he didn't play. He beaten by South Africa.
All
by
right,
Dutch.
Enough of the under 23s. I was a victim of that, but I won't go into that. let me move on.
My friend.
Hashtag,
No.
My
hashtag
friend,
France.
football in
Can you-
Africa is not
Ah,
for youngsters.
let
Can
us
you-
know, I think posing our questions to our listeners. Really, we need to hear from you your thoughts on this Olympic issue. whether you are in agreement with the IOC or this rule completely should be changed to allow the under 23 to play. Now let's look at
A young Elas to miss the Olympics
let's look
because
at
of
I
the
said
overage
no,
Nigerian players
I
in
didn't say that.
1996.
Now, what?
Now, gentlemen, let's look at
No, Leicester was 23 at that time. Canwell was 23 that time. West was 23 that time. They play against each other. It's just the physique. The physique was different. Was a different issue.
All
When
right.
you eat Apu and Eba, you become different. And that's what were you eating in Zimbabwe at that time.
Sadza.
Okay, yeah.
All right, gentlemen, let's look at another story that has made headlines. Really, I think, not shocking per se, but again, it just shows the nature of how these players, they get to be signed. Talking about, the ban on Kaizer Chiefs, Timothy. Look, yes, finding themselves on the wrong side of the law, so to speak. The issue with the player from Madagascar, Ducks. Yes, the name is too long.
Adriana Marimana.
Yes, so it seems as if Chiefs did not follow the book. Jeff now getting themselves now in hot water, where now there's been a ban. Yes, they are going to appeal at CAS, but what is it that happened? Where do you feel that, if you look at what if FIFA has explained, where was the club wrong?
No, the club. For me, the club was not wrong.
Oh,
For me, it's the
okay.
player.
Okay,
For me, it's the player.
that's important.
Yeah,
What you're
very
saying.
important, because when they ask a player,
It's
most of the
important.
time, because I did deal with players,
It's important.
and they will tell you, "No, I'm free,
Okay,
and
it's important what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very important.
The integrity.
So Jeff,
Of
I
players.
think there was a time, Timothy, where even Pizzo, he posed a question regarding when he was chasing the Cape Town City player. He eventually signed him Ngoma. He said, but how do I find out that this player's contract is still valid or is coming to an end? I also, when I was the CEO at Cape Town All Stars, I was also involved with a similar case where I signed a player after the player gave me word that his contract is coming to an end. But now, is it something that you can use as an excuse?
Yeah, but
because
you see,
on top
Jeff,
of that,
Jeff,
you ask for the club release. The release letter,
Yeah.
and if the player brings you the release letter
Who-
and he tells you
but the-
that
but the club need to
now,
go to-
Jeff, now we have a challenge.
Yeah.
We had it also here, Sundowns with Talioba,
yeah,
where one of the officials did forge a signature
Yeah.
for Talioba. So
The Sundance official.
This is a classic example of Forza, Kaizer Chiefs, and Adrian Marian. Now, he says he had no contract with the club, that is Forza Club. They went again, Kaizer Chiefs made the initiative to get this contract, get even an expert, signature expert to try and
Signature
implement
expert,
it.
yeah.
They got clearance from FIFA that the player can sign with Kaizer Chiefs. So after 2 years, we have Chiefs being banned. It is mind-boggling.
And the player too, eh?
Okay, but this issue is, gentlemen, if the player comes or the player lies, are the rules not saying that the owners is on the club to verify? Because if the player comes and says that I've got a contract with Highlands Park, or I don't have a contract with Highlands Park, and later on Highlands Park, because the player can produce a clearance certificate, isn't it?
For me, Elasto, he
So what must clubs do
You need
when,
to go
when,
to
when
the
a
proper
player
channel.
comes with a clearance certificate? A player says as well, this contract that I had with Highlands Park is coming to an end.
Elasto,
They've cleared me.
we sh-
So can you find the club guilty? But the rules
Elasto-
say the owners is always
Elasto-
on the club.
Elasto, we should not
Yes.
forget the fact that we have got instances of clubs that are not loyal or honest. When they hear that it is Sundowns, it Kaizer Chiefs, they sense an opportunity to make money. We have seen all that as players. I was in Celtic, my contract came to an end, and as I was playing for the national team, they announced I still have a contract with them because they thought I was going to go to Kaizer Chiefs. So those rumblings are always and will always be there. Now, you have got a player who is saying, I honestly don't have a contract.
Yes.
Now, the integrity, the honesty of the player, we don't know.
Yes.
And then you have got a club which is saying, listen, no, this player is still contracted to us. Because at this moment in time, there is a club that is interested in him. They see an opportunity to make money. Now, how do you verify that? In the PSL, it's easy. You can go to the PSL offices and verify the contractual
That's
obligation
exactly
this is
of the club.
recording that's officially. But guys, we in Africa, and I've been involved
Yes.
in signing players. Sometimes a player can lie to you. You say that the contract has come an
Yes,
end.
it's come to
And
an
I'll give you an example because I was involved with the Florent Ibenge.
Yes.
When Vita was banned by CAF in 2016, and the very same year, because the eliminated Sundowns, and
Yes.
they replaced the
Yes.
Vita by Sundowns, and Sundown managed
Went
to
to-
win,
yes.
were made to win the Champions League. The problem was a player from Mali who used to play for Stade Malien. When he was contacted, he said that he doesn't have a contract. It was just verbal. And they asked him, can you produce a release letter? He gave Vita the release letter. And when you take the release letter with the contract of the player and his passport, you send to your FA.
Yes. you
So
see
your
the FA,
FA contacted
Yes,
the
the
FA
club.
in Mali,
Yes.
for Stade Malien. And they said everything is perfect.
The clearance was given.
The clearance, international clearance was given. But only to find out that Stade Malien called the player. They said that you are our player. But you go into a big club, we don't have any problem. But ask them to give us $50,000.
The African way.
Yeah,
That's the African way.
Yes.
You know,
African
like what
way.
Chime
The
said that once.
integrity.
Yeah, African way.
integrity.
Yeah. So I think it becomes a problem. But anyway, I think there are lessons. I think there are lessons, gentlemen,
Yeah.
to be learned in all these things. Of course, club licensing. You look at
this is when I'm saying that
Yes.
CAF
Yes.
is putting the horse before
The cart.
the cart just because I don't know what to say.
Because
because they
yes.
start something that they don't
Yeah.
know how to start it.
because there's the
All the conditions are not there to have club licensing.
there's also
Apart from South Africa and Morocco, maybe in Egypt.
Yeah, because if you look at the international transfer system that is currently in place as
Yeah.
well, you would think, Jeff, is supposed to pick up some of these things. If you look at FA and FA, where that international clearance that comes now from the Madagascar FA, it means it's all clear in
All
Madagascar.
clear. All
Once-
clear.
once-
It
once
should
an
be.
FA
Yeah, all clear.
Issues an international
That's why I'm
clearance.
saying that I suspect the player.
Yes.
The player
So deal with the player.
has promised money to his club.
So are we saying that
And
deal
but
with
the
the
money
player?
didn't come. That's why that
it's
issue
supposed
came
to.
back.
So
But even then,
But the
Yeah.
player, the
But
player
even
has been,
then,
has
yeah.
been,
but
has
even
been
then-
suspended, isn't it?
Yeah, for
even-
4
Yeah,
months,
you should be suspended.
Yes.
But
4
even
months.
then, the fact that the international clearance came through, that shouldn't clear everything.
But sometimes with team in Africa, you can have a contact with one FA.
No, but
person.
why should we be
Yeah,
our
someone-
Africa
No, no,
all the
They
time?
don't have an
Africa?
authorized.
I know
Why,
that's what I'm
why
saying.
should
In
we
ITC,
legitimize
ITC,
something
international
that is
clearance.
wrong?
Because
It
we
is
are
authorized.
hungry. We're hungry. Because
Yes.
I remember in that team from Togo, they played against Sundowns. I forgot the name.
Okay.
And Peter was very much interested in number 9.
Yes.
Yes, and I was involved in that
Okay,
kind
yes,
of a
to try
transaction.
to facilitate
Yeah,
that.
to facilitate, but only to find out the number of foreigners
Yes.
they have reached the quota, so no one can be signed.
Okay.
So you would see that they want to get money, but they don't want to follow a proper procedure.
All
There's a lot
right.
of loopholes, but
Wrap
there's
it
a
up,
way.
Greg
There's,
Tiaf.
there's ways we can, rectify these things.
All right.
Because
It is a very long shot. It is a very
what's
long
happening in
shot.
certain regions?
Because
It
we're
reminds-
hungry.
It reminds
Most
me
of
of
the
what
teams
Etafia
are
one time
hungry.
called. You know, Elasto, it reminds me one time when Etafia called something like a good bribe. And
No.
we were asking what is a good bribe?
I said,
Okay, no, there's nothing like that. All
There's
right,
nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
No, but
But
honestly,
in DRC, we don't call it corruption.
yes. Oh,
It is cooperation.
cooperation.
Yeah.
No.
like
You see, that's the problem.
Mr. Laston.
Beautifying words.
Okay,
Justify ill.
Like
Jeff said,
we've come to the end.
sometimes maybe the player, maybe he does say, okay, let me go to Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah, guys, I'll give you money.
I'll give you
No, no, I
something. Now,
think- I
because
think
Kaiser Chiefs don't have anything.
It was
they
a
don't do
big
anything
move
wrong.
for the
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
It was a big move, but I think it did cut corners.
Yes, there's something very
I
fishy
think
that
there are
they don't
lessons
want
to be
to
learned
talk about.
regarding this issue.
But Chiefs are
hopefully,
appealing.
Chiefs
Yeah,
will
but now
be.
Chiefs is suffering, and the players.
that's what I'm
But the
saying,
players
but-
should be punished. It's just like
But
Figo.
for 4 months.
Figo did sign for 2 clubs
Yes,
at one
yes,
time.
yeah,
He
yes.
signed for Parma and Barcelona.
Yes.
And FIFA banned him for a year.
I-
They banned him for 4 months now. I
Alright.
think he's an appeal. I don't know.
All right.
We see.
Gentlemen, we can go on and on and on. This is African football. We've unfortunately come to the end. We could have touched also on the other issue of protection for players, but the guys.
Yeah, that one,
They
that one
did
was
all
very
right.
nice.
So,
Because
next to Will.
that one
But
is
let
very
me
nice
take this
because now
opportunity to thank you who was listening. Of course, hopefully you enjoyed every moment of this program. Really, there's just a mouthful, a lot that we can venture
African
into.
football.
But that is African football for you. And the guys, they are here
We
week
need to
in and
change
week out. Greg Itafia, let me say thank you to you. Jeff Katala, Timothy Patabaile, thank you, gentlemen. And for you at home as well. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Elasto Capoeja is my name as well. Saying good night to you, and we meet again, same place, same time.
Welcome to Front Sports Roundup of the top 5 African plays from this past week. Making the list at number 5 is Islam Slimani, who scored the match-winning goal in Monaco's 2-1 victory against Amiens in the French League. That is goal number 8 for the Algerian big man. Staying in France, Victor Osimhen netted in Lille's 2-0 away win over Angers. The Nigeria international now has 12 goals in the French top flight thanks to this latest effort. South African star Jermaine Seoposenwe makes our list at number 3 after sealing her move to Spanish side Real Betis Feminas. Seoposenwe, who starred in Banyana's first ever Women's World Cup last year, is now the second South African woman to join a Spanish outfit after Ode Fulitidilo starred for Malaga last season. At number 2, Nigeria's national basketball team D Tigres booked a ticket to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. For the first time in history, the West African nation's men and women's basketball teams will feature at the same time at an Olympics tournament. Our top star of the week is David Bamasai, who clinched first place at the 2020 Lagos City Marathon held in Nigeria. The Kenyan completed the 42-kilometer race in 2 hours, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Bamasai is set to pocket $50,000. That's a cool amount of cash.